was long-winded, guys. I'm going to let it idle for 5 or 10 minutes, but of course that's not right. It made great viewing, but yeah, what's happening there is oil's coming up the piston rings and it's going out the exhaust, and that's what's burning off there. I did say it the whole time that it's not necessarily the fix. Although, John, look, oil's dripping out of the exhaust. Oh, we better switch it off, John. Yeah, if it's coming that far down, then yeah, you're right. And the compression test would have been high because the oil would have. Yeah, exactly. All right. I don't think that's a huge loss for me, guys. I think the bike. I think John's spot on. We've got a bike, a Chinese bike here that doesn't look terrible and has a good mileage. But yeah, see the oil drip there. Oil's coming down that exhaust pipe, obviously at a certain rate. What we will check before we do anything else, we're going to wait 15 minutes. We're going to check the level of the oil. If it happens to be higher than the window, that can happen anyway, but I think I checked it. I remember checking it and it wasn't stupidly high. Look, you see the line now, it's in the middle, but it's still all coming back down. So let's keep an eye on that. Let's make sure it doesn't go above the window. If it does go above the window, what we would do is drop it to its medium level and then check again. But even so, you'd have smoke for a little while because it's in this system now, you see. From that drip there at the end. You might even need to pop the exhaust off, give it a rinse out somehow at some point. I'm not sure what you'd use for that. Or plain water, I guess, would just...
They're just ready to burn out eventually.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. Let's keep an eye on this level. We'll wait 10 minutes, guys. I'm really pleased we heard the engine, though. You know, that's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What's your thoughts on this one? I'll break the engine down tomorrow because, again, I know this engine now. I can do it. I'll take the head off. I need to compare the new head to the old one. I can't afford to buy one yet, but a couple of weeks maybe we can get the new head. We do need to check the bottom end, make sure there's no free play in there, because there could be. And if all else kind of is good, then this could be a 150 cc, although still under the horsepower range of a 125. Let's be honest, it's 8 horsepower now. It might be 9 or 10 with the... It would still be slower than the KTM, I'm sure. Alright, well, that's it really for today's video. I'll just keep an eye on this oil for a few minutes. Again, I'm pleased. I really enjoy hearing that there. It smoked really quickly, which makes me strongly know that that oil has come up past the rings. Oil is meant to come into the head to oil the lobes. The other thing it could be, John, is the valve stems, couldn't it? The oil valve stems. It could be coming down and into the engine from there. Yeah, so the oil could be in there, which it's meant to be. It's meant to be in there, but it could be seeping down past the oil, the valves, and going into the head. But we'd only know that once we have put the new piston and rings on. To be fair, tomorrow I'll pop this head off. We'll just see. Once you slide the piston off its rings, that tells you if there's kind of issues or not. You can tell straight away normally. Sometimes, like John said, you can spray them and free them up, but if you've got that far, you may as well put on a new head, especially a bike that's done a good mileage. What's great to know is that you press this button and this starts and runs and rides. That's pretty cool, I think. So while me and John are here, and just kind of out of curiosity, we popped the head off again. Now this is what happens. I was just saying to John, once we pull this head now, it hits the frame again, so we have to pop these off and tilt the engine very slightly forward, and then we can get the head off. But that's kind of straightforward. let's get back down to this piston just out of curiosity, and we'll see if there's any obvious. When I looked in last time, I felt it didn't look too healthy. Alright guys, so we've gone right down into the engine. I think the piston rings were probably okay. We did a bit of a leak down test, and it kind of felt okay. It didn't feel like too much of an issue, that's the truth. But my concern is that the gaskets were letting the oil, you know, from the oil channel come through. So that's an oil channel there. And funny enough, the other head has a tiny bit of a nick in it. I think I mentioned that last time, a bit of a nick in it, and I didn't have enough proper silicone to do that nick, so it's over there. So I think what this really needs is a 150 head and cylinder, and that will come with a new gasket set. So new piston, new rings, new cylinder, new gasket set, good sealant on that bit there, just on that little nick. Let me show you that little nick. It's here, look. Oh. There. So you see here. So what I was wondering, if oil was coming out of the oil channel, which is this one here. I think it's an oil channel. It might not be. I think it is an oil channel. I think if oil was coming out of there and seeping into here, then it was coming into the cylinder, and that was then compressing. I don't know if that nick would cause that. We had a bit of an oil leak out here as well. I think as long as we're sealed properly here, like we should be with the new head gasket, everything should technically be okay. So that's where this bike sits at the moment. John's saying swap the engine over. It's a very good idea. If I have the energy tomorrow, I'll consider it. It's exactly the same engine. Exactly the same engine points, everything. So I'll consider it tomorrow, because that bike's not going anywhere. That bike's finished. It's an insurance write-off or something. This bike can be on the road doing something. So I'll consider that for tomorrow. For now though, we got lots of filming done today. We got lots of work done today. It was up and it was running and it was riding, but obviously it just weren't right. If I can find a new head, a brand new head, that's all set up with the pistons and with the valves and stuff, I'd buy it. I'm gonna look online, because it would be well worth doing that. So you'd have a 150 piston, 150 cylinder, put all that together, and then you'd have a new head, new gaskets, everything would be new on that engine. And if you were lucky, it could do another 20,000 miles if you put good oil in it. No reason why it wouldn't. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, out of curiosity, what your thoughts are. It possibly would have cleared up a little bit earlier. We could even, if we were really cheeky now, John, we could even reseal this engine. If we were really cheeky, we could get some good silicone from Halfords, reseal this engine properly tomorrow, and technically I think it would be okay. My only concern is that the oil is running down the valves, and the valve stem oil seal has gone, which means you'd have oil coming out of here. But there's no sign of that. Or would it burn off massively, John? It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think it would be wet and oily?
Yeah.
Because also the plug would be wet and oily, wouldn't it?
We didn't check that, did we?
I don't think oil... I don't know where the oil came into this chamber. Yeah, but I can see it here, John. The spark plug.
Yeah, it's alright.
So oil was coming out of the exhaust, wasn't it?
Maybe there's an O-ring missing somewhere or something, you know what I mean?
Maybe the exhaust has oil in it. From last time. From when the engine went and then all of the when that old thing cracked, oil could have gone up then.
Could have done.
Maybe we were just burning off the old oil. What we could do tomorrow after resealing this, not necessarily we, John.
Started without the exhaust.
Put that exhaust on.
Yeah.
Same exhaust, same things.
Or started without the exhaust.
I don't think, with a 4-stroke, it needs a little bit of back pressure.
Yeah, we'll start.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought it needs a little bit of back pressure.
No, I started my Thundercat without exhaust in it.
Wow. Knowing me, I'm going to be bored tomorrow and try and save this with the pieces we've got. When me and John re-broke down the engine, there was no sign of oil, but I've taken the exhaust apart and it's caked. Now, our hypothesis, look, it's soaking. Our hypothesis is that when the valve originally broke, that oil splattered up and went through, and that what we just saw was the remnants of that in the can. I've taken the end piece off and flushed it through as best as I could, but this is absolutely dripping in it. You can kind of see it's pooled in there, and it would never be cleanable. These cheap end cans are like 20 quid, so it'd be worth a new one. So tomorrow, I think the plan is one last ditch effort, and it will be to use some sealants just to make sure all the head gaskets are okay. Put it all back together. Put the end can on only, no end can on, sorry. It'll be loud, but we'll see if it's smoky or not. And because also it was kind of pulling up and rolling backwards. It was coming out of here back into the pipe and then dripping out of the rain hole, you know. So it's bad, this one. I think it's drenched. I think the innings have soaked up oil, and that's what we were seeing. That's kind of a hypothesis. So in the next video you should see the engine going back together again, being timed again. We shouldn't need to do the valves, but we might have to do the valves depending on what happens with the gaskets. And we'll try again and we'll see what happens. It didn't make too much sense really. We did a leak down test in the cylinder and the piston and rings wasn't leaking down. So let's see, it'll be something fun to do tomorrow.